So yeah.
Welcome to another episode of A&O Connect with Andre and
Omikio.
where we talk about life, love, and relationships.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to A&O Connect, where we talk about life, love, relationships, and all things that happen in between. This is Omikio, and Andre will be back in a few. We have our grandchildren today, and so him and I are going to be in and out. So we got to take care of our grandchildren. Our daughter is in Georgia, and she is looking to relocate. So you know what? This is what happens. Life happens. So here we are. I do want to introduce our special guest, my friend, Miss Rosalind Price. I'm going to give you a few minutes to introduce to them who you are, and then we'll get started.
Well, thank you, Omikio. As always, it's a pleasure to be here with you and Andre and your online fam and audience. So thank you for having me in your space. As Omikio said, everybody, I am Rosalind Price. I am the CEO of R. Richard Price Consulting. I am a grief coach and transition strategist. So basically what I do is I help people define and design their journey with grief, loss, and transitions on their terms. And so I'm here to hold that container as people go through the most sacred times in their lives. And speaking of transitions, that was a good example. Your daughter's relocating, right? And
yes.
Here's transitions, live and in living color, and how we navigate those and how we still move forward. We still move forward.
We still move forward. We have to, right? We have to continue to move forward. And I am having some problems, you all, with our YouTube. So I am trying to get that on. So just bear with me a few moments as I try to get us connected on the YouTube. You know how this works. Sometimes we will sit here and get it all together, and then it don't work the way we wanted to work. But amen, we're gonna get it together. I promise you, we're gonna get it together. So, it happens. Sometimes stuff like this happens, and we got to make sure we get it together. But so we are coming back, and we're talking about this is our grief series part 3. We talked about ambiguous loss, grieving someone who is still living, right? And we hinted on it a little bit in our last session, but we're going to talk about it in this session. But before we do that, I just want to pause just for a moment. And, you were away for a couple of weeks, right? And I know you all had some time to kind of digest what Rosalind, Andre, and myself talked about. We want to hear from you. We got a couple people on. I see you on live. I see Michiko. I see my sister-in-law, Tanya. What did you receive? Tell us a little bit about how you kind of digested what we were talking about in the last couple of sessions, and what hit home for you? If you can just share that with us, that would be wonderful.
It was a lot to process, wasn't it?
It was. It really was.
A deep conversation and so necessary.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? And every time we have these sessions, I always learn something new. And I got to tell you, while we're waiting for someone to put something in the chat and post for us, it's insightful, right? Of how we look at things, that all of us look at things differently. So to have some realization of this is right? This is I'm okay to feel this way, because all of us have feelings. All of us have different things that, we go through, and you were able to help us with that.
Yeah, it was an awesome conversation. And what was it, 2 weeks ago? Has it been 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, the way that people were transparent and they were actually really leaning into the subject matter and the light bulb. And just while we're waiting, just to re-level set, Ambiguous loss, as Omikio said, it is the loss and grieving
Yeah.
someone, something, a place that is still present physically, but no
Right.
longer present
Mm-hmm.
with us physically, or either not present in the ways that we wish, need, or long for. And from a
Yeah.
society perspective, it's one of those losses that's not generally accepted or understood by society because there's no ceremony for it, there's no funeral. As you said
Right.
last time, there's no obituary, there is no program for it, there's no funeral, and then there's typically no closing ceremony, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's hard
Yeah.
to get your brain around it. But once we talked about it and people were like, is this ambiguous loss? They were like, oh, now I get it, right?
Yeah.
We had people talking about
Mm-hmm.
friendship relationships that shifted, and we were like, yes. And then even the pet loss, where we know pet loss is a disenfranchised loss, which ambiguous loss can fall under that as well because it's not commonly accepted by
Right.
society as a real grief or loss. However, when that person, that lovely person, shared with us, though, that her pet was sick and the pet was no longer
Mm.
functioning the same way or giving her the level of presence or comfort that she was used to or needed. So, yes, that was a form of ambiguous loss and anticipatory loss. So
Oh,
it was
absolutely.
amazing. And I
It
thank you
was.
and Andre again and the audience again for the space.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I love the fact that we are able to share. I see a question or comment here from Tanya: how to process and still be able to go forth and to know that I'm not alone. That's awesome. Yeah, that's talk about that, Rosalind.
Tanya, that is major. The thing with grief and loss is because it can be so overwhelming, and especially when it's unknown in a lot of areas and it's something new and you're dealing with all of the emotions and life, and people seem to just
Mm-hmm.
keep going while you're in your moment, and you're in your moment of, we talked about
Right.
loss being the event and then moving forward into the actual grieving season and then learning to live with grief as a guide. And sometimes you can feel alone because everybody else is moving. Seems like only your life has been in an upheaval or has stopped. And so it's good to have these conversations. Once we have a community around it, then you know, oh, this is a natural thing. I'm not the only one going through it, even though it's mine to define. So, Tanya, what a light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
What a light bulb. And thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Well, I will tell you that it looks like our YouTube, for some reason, it's not connecting. So we will not go to YouTube because I don't want to distract from what we're talking about today. And
Hmm.
listen, we got a lot going on. Again, it's life, love, relationships, and all things that happen in between. And sometimes technical difficulties happen in between all of this. So guess what? No YouTube live, but I will upload the video after we finish our live. So I appreciate that. Um, I hear you, Tanya. You said you have some grands too. We got our grandchildren too. That's why you don't see Andre by me right now. He's trying to take care of these grandchildren. Now they need to be taking a nap right now, but you know, they do what they want to do sometimes. So we appreciate you being on. All right, y'all. So we, as you come in, if you want to share with us what you took away from the last couple of sessions that we've done, how it, helped you or what you learned, we really want to hear from you. But we're going to also just kind of jump in because we want to talk about the guilt that we have.
Mm.
Um, so hey cousin, hi y'all, how y'all doing? Please, if you've been in our sessions before, if you've learned something stuck with you in the last couple times that we've had these sessions, please, please, please put it in the chat so we can talk about it. But until you put it in there, we're gonna keep moving forward because we want to talk about the guilt of having this ambiguous loss, grieving someone who is still living. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you from my experience, I've had that guilt. And it's like, I feel guilty with setting boundaries. Like, but I know if I don't set the boundaries, I'm going to be negatively impacted. So tell us about that a little bit. So, because I fight with myself sometimes because I'm like, oh, I love this person and I want to connect with them, but there also it can be some toxicity in that relationship that is harmful to me. So I want to talk about that. I also want to say we have a first time viewer, but she says she knows grief very well. So I'm going to put that out there. Hey, jump in here. If you have any questions as we're talking about this is about someone who's still living. It can be a parent, it can be a child, it could be tell me, jump in here, Rosalind.
It could be job loss.
It could be.
It could
Yeah.
be divorce. It could be the shift or loss of a friendship.
Mm,
It could even be that maybe you lost your home and people don't understand that. Like, why are you
yes.
crying over a home? But that might have been a home that you worked hard for. That was your place. That was
Mm-hmm.
your sacred sanctuary. So it's those things again that they're necessarily not present with us physically anymore for whatever reason. Either we removed ourselves or they removed themselves, or it was removed from us, or it was never there. But we have that longing for that. We have that longing for that
Yeah.
connection, that grounding. Because
Yeah.
it's a grounding. When you talk about those things, when people say, well, it's just a thing. No, things are groundings for us. Having a sacred space, a home,
Yes.
having a job that supports your livelihood, that also
Mm-hmm.
supports your career moves, your identity,
Yes.
things that you've worked hard for, those are critical and those are important. And they are legitimate losses and they are legitimate grief loss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to just ask those who was in our sessions before. There's Michiko. She gave me some insights. I want to read through what she provided.
Michiko is like the number one
Listen, she's my
fan
number one
favorite.
fan over here. I'm gonna tell you. She said it gave me the insight of how grief is love. I have gained from this how much I love and miss my daughter, Sean. But the grief has truly put my mental and emotions into the love God gave me 54 wonderful years of true love. The other thing is, it made me realize that the love I have for her has eliminated all the headbutts we had. Oh, man. I
Mm.
don't think of any issues we had because they don't matter. That's the best part of these sessions I've been left with. Oh my gosh, to know that I was loved and had the love. Let me go ahead and get the rest of had the love of a beautiful being that God blessed me with. Miss Nicole. Oh, oh,
Oh,
mm,
talk about a light bulb and a moment.
yes.
Holding the space for that right now, Michiko.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Pause, pause, pause.
Mm,
Because you met that thing.
yes.
That's what we talk about when we talk about grief intelligence and grief awareness and
Mm,
truly allowing grief to walk beside you as a guide back to
yes.
yourself
Yes.
and yourself of love.
Mm.
Making me cry. Okay, I'll stop.
But we appreciate.
I'll bring you out of it. Okay, Michiko,
Yeah.
not like that.
Oh, and I want to make sure I'm saying your name right, Miss Bradford. You said not no more. People will drain you dry and don't feel guilty about nothing or no accountability. So you're all about your self care. Is what I'm hearing, right? It's me. It's my responsibility. Self care is our responsibility. But growing up, never had new boundaries. But people will leave you spiritually bankrupt. Oh, ah. They will leave you spiritually bankrupt with no refill. You can't refill from an empty cup, nor pour from a empty cup. Oh no, you said nor pour from a cup that has holes. Ooh, you will be depleted.
Oh, is that
Oh,
Mariah?
that's
Is
a
that
whole.
how you pronounce
I'm gonna
it?
let you get that, Roger.
Let's talk about it. Let's jump right in here.
Come on.
So let's see if this resonates. Okay, so I just did a live for Grief TV on this. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about guilt. And the reason why, let's go back to what guilt really is and what it really means, because what did we say over these last sessions? And Michiko probably can regurgitate it, is that when we name a thing, we give it meaning, we give it identity. And then once we do that, it's workable. Now it's up to us how we work that thing. So when we talk about guilt is when there has been wrongdoing, an offense, something that is maybe a desire or seeking out for forgiveness. And it's really more self internal. It's not direct movement, it's not forward movement. Usually with guilt, it ruminates. And the difference between guilt and remorse, though, remorse has with it a more deeper inner reflective. Where there's empathy with it, there is a desire to resolve, to repair, and to move forward.
Right.
So when we talk about guilt, what I want to ask everybody is, and I want to invite us to do a reframe. I know we've been taught that the word is guilt, but is it really guilt? Because in the instances we're talking about, you've done no wrong. There was no offense on your part. So you did nothing to feel guilty for. So guilty is the conscious mind and your conscience that's saying something wrong has been done. I did something wrong. So I feel some sort of guilt. And if I'm really thinking about it deeply and I really feel deeply about it, then there's a sense of remorse. So I want to reframe that. Okay. And I invite you to reframe that because of the simple fact that I want you to ask yourself, if you are feeling guilt, or if you've ever felt guilt, is it really guilt that you're feeling, or is it projection from others?
Right.
Is it ideals and beliefs that you were born and raised with? You know, we have those beliefs that, hey, that's your mother, that's your father, you always respect them. And a lot of times we don't understand that respect doesn't necessarily mean that I always have to be in your vicinity, or that I have to accept your ill behavior or your toxic behavior, as you worded it, Omikio. That doesn't necessarily mean that. Doesn't mean I'm not respecting you because I don't engage with you in the way that the world thinks family and engagement looks like. So I want you to ask yourself that. Is it really guilt, or is it guilt that we put that name on it, or we've been made to feel guilty because of others' projections, ideals, and beliefs, someone else's opinion, or someone else projecting how they would handle the situation?
Yeah.
So does that help? Remember again, so guilt is, again, you've done no wrong, you've done nothing offensive. And the only time that I would say that guilt or remorse really shows up as true guilt and remorse is if perhaps in your boundary making, or when you sever those ties, or even in your reaction and your response and your processing of the thing or the person that has done you wrong, whether they did it purposely or not, if there's bitterness, if there's malice, if there's ill intent or ill wishes, and if the way in which you parted it was not done with peace, if it was not done with conscious assertiveness, and if it was not done with healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Let me know, somebody, if that makes sense and if that resonates.
We got Andre back.
Andre's
here with us.
Hello, everyone.
And we got YouTube up. So I was able to get YouTube up as well. So as Rosalind was going through, we were able to get both of the streams going. So again, technical difficulties, it happens sometimes. Bear with us as we try to work all this out. But I think that explanation that you gave is so good. So thank you for just taking a moment to go backwards and just kind of walk us through that. That's so important. So
because guilt, again, that's self-inflicting. Or either a projection or something you were raised with that maybe you need to release right now. And so just think about that. What are you self-inflicting upon yourself, or allowing externally to be self-inflicted upon you? Because you did no wrong unless you acted unconsciously or not within conscious mind.
Yeah. I think sometimes what happens is we be like, okay, the person not dead. So why am I sad? Why am I grieving? Maybe I didn't try hard enough. How can you walk away from your mother, your father, your own child, your own marriage? Like all those things come at you all at one time, and you're like, whoa, I feel bad for protecting myself. Like, what's that about? People telling me I need to forgive and let go. Maybe I'm the problem. All these things come at you at one time. So, I mean, what do you do with that?
So here's the thing. Grief comes to not only shed light and truth,
Mm-hmm.
grief reminds us to nurture and take care of ourselves. Okay. So when we talk about grief and it being your journey, we have to ask ourselves, what is it for me to own in this
Mm,
process?
yeah.
You are human. So, of course, there is going to be some regret, perhaps, or some second guessing. But
Mm-hmm.
typically, that's your mind making meaning of it, processing it. And whenever we experience something new or something that we're stepping out of the ordinary, of course, we're going to question and say, did I make the right decision? I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I feel bad. However, we also have to step out of that and ask ourselves, is this for me to own?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot own someone else's behavior. You cannot
Right.
own someone else's behavior that impacts you negatively. What you can control is what you will and will not tolerate.
Mm, that's what you will and will not tolerate. I'm gonna pause. I have a comment in the chat, but I
Sure.
also want
Go ahead.
you want me to do the comment first? Okay, so the comment, um, but when that thing click or snap in you, it's major, so the repair is necessary. I had survivor's guilt being born deceased, and I'm 45 years old now. I'm just learning. I'm just now learning now my trauma was from the umbilical cord I was born with. For generations, including my own mistakes, I just know learning it's time to unpack and clean up.
Mhm.
Unpack and clean up. Yeah. Andre.
And I'm not following the first part completely. So Mariah,
Yeah.
if we're pronouncing your name right, so we'll say Ms. Bradford, as
Yeah.
Olivia has been saying, if you can clarify that. But as far as survivor's guilt, can we touch on that for a little bit there?
Yeah, let's do that. I think she was connecting it with a story up top. So it's a continuation what she was talking about being depleted. She's like, I'm letting God recalibrate my heart and soul because grief will kill true story, dead or alive. And then she's adding more into that. But if we're getting this wrong or we may be misunderstanding it, please clear it up for us so we can come and make sure that we're touching on what your point is, and we want to make sure we elaborate on it if that's what you would like us to do. But go ahead and talk about
Yeah.
that survivor's guilt, and then I want to open it up for Andre to talk as well, because I know all of us have had some form of that survivor's guilt, and we can talk about
Okay, so in the simplest terms, so first again, let's reframe and encourage. And I don't know if that's necessarily what you were saying though, Murata, and as far as the grief will kill. So what we've been saying and sharing here and inviting people is that grief is not coming to destroy us. It's not coming to put us in a chokehold. Grief is the guide to lead us to nurture,
it.
to lead us to care, to lead us to support, to meet our needs. While in the grieving season, though, it can feel like we are suffocating and
Mm-hmm.
that we are overwhelmed because of all of the emotions and all of
Yeah.
the things that come with that loss and that transition. So, of course, those feelings are very valid. But I'm always adamant about making sure that we frame grief in the way that doesn't give it a negative label, whether we intend to or not, because when we do that, we will tend to avoid it. And grief
Yes.
is not something you want to avoid. You enter into it and you meet it in your own time and in your own way, but you don't want to avoid something that's really trying to guide you into your transition consciously. Now, when it comes to the survivor's guilt, unless, of course, in the simplest terms, that you had anything to do with intentionally someone's demise, we go back to again, you did nothing wrong.
Mm.
You
Mm.
did not commit an offense. And I know it's hard to accept that because, in a lot of respects, you're the one that's remaining while that other person is gone, or either maybe you're the one that didn't get hurt as badly as that other person did. And we go back again to, is that for you to own?
Yeah.
Is it for you to own? And did you have power and control over that? So in
Mm.
grief also invites us to have grace. Grace
Yeah.
for ourselves, empathy for ourselves, grace and empathy for others. Not tolerating ill behavior from ourselves or others, but that's what grief invites us to do.
Yes. We got another comment from Miss Bradford. People don't tell you how to forgive, they just say do it. Some people have to be shown from the lack of knowledge. You're right. So here's the thing, that's true. We were just talking about that the other day. Like, we say things, but who teaches us? How do we show how to do it? Because sometimes we just expect people to just figure it out. Hey, you should do this. But if it's not shown, if it's not taught, then what are we doing? You telling me to do this, but I don't know how, right?
And people forgive in their own way. From a coach's
Yeah.
perspective, we don't tell you how to forgive. We don't even tell you to forgive. What we tell
Mm,
you is to consider what forgiveness looks like to you. And
yeah.
what we will tell you is that forgiveness doesn't mean pardoning the wrong
Yeah.
or what was done to you that impacted you negatively. It's not pardoning that act. But when we say forgiveness, we think of it for yourself, meaning that not ruminating over things or allowing the rumination of things to control you,
Mm,
or those things that were inflicted on you negatively, not owning that and carrying that with you. In some respects, that's what the forgiving may look like. That while I may not forgive the act, I will not hold bitterness towards you as a person. And while I may not
mm,
invite you or keep you into my circle, but when your name comes up, I'm not immediately angered.
yeah.
When you're spoken about or when you're thought about, I'm not wishing you ill. I am doing the reverse. I am countering the spirit in which you acted within me, upon me, with peace, with joy, comfort for myself.
Mm,
So I hope that resonates. So really forgiveness means, what is it that I'm choosing to carry or not carry for myself
mm-hmm.
and with myself as I move forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
can tell
like
you a story about that if you need it. I had, family members that during the process of my mother and father passing away when I was very young, and I didn't have the level of support that you would have thought that I would have had at 16 years old, and certain things that were done and with respect to legally and things of that nature weren't necessarily right, or the help that was needed, and some things were done in malice even though they didn't know that I knew it at that age. And what I decided to do was to not own that. Now, what I did is I didn't tolerate the act. I didn't say they weren't accountable. I didn't bring
mm,
truth to power or truth to light. And I didn't say, okay, I forgive you. Let's pick up this relationship and be just as we were or just as we are. What I did is that I will take from that the lesson to not do anyone else like that. I
yeah.
will take from that the lesson that the manner in which they are acting and the spirit in which they're acting under, I will not act within that spirit. And therefore, I'm showing the world what walking in forgiveness and grace looks like by my behavior, not theirs.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Hmm.
Hi, Andre.
Well, hello everyone. A little bit late, but glad to be here and to see everyone here. Um, Thank you to all of you who've joined. I see it coming from my sister Tanya. Hey sis, how are you? And everyone else who has joined. Thank you again, Miss Rosalind, for
Welcome.
spending time with us, and everyone else who's on now and who will see this later.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. This is what, third?
This is the third one.
It's
Yes.
a third time. Okay.
Can you believe it,
Well,
Andre?
well, I've been listening and reading through the comments, and what I'm seeing here is more of human nature.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's human nature to feel bad about something that seems bad.
Mm,
And if you don't know how to navigate, if you have not been in the presence of experienced people, um, knowledgeable people, people who practice um, grace for others, who give mercy, um, you won't see examples. If you don't see examples, then you won't know
Yeah.
really how to respond to certain things. And that's why I always tell myself to try my best to be consistent in my character.
Right.
Because it says always somebody looking, somebody always listening.
Mm.
And they're not just doing it to be nosy or to have a story to tell. They're doing it to learn something. They're doing it without asking questions to feel shame or whatever the case may be. But they respect you enough and they see enough in you to say, if I watch this person a little bit closer because of what I see in them, what I know of them, I can learn from them. So I try my best to be consistent, not perfect, because I can never be that.
Right.
But I'll just tell a little bitty story. I was at the movies with my wife, and it's time to go home. I said, I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick and be right out. So as I'm washing my hands, I notice a little boy standing next to me. He's about 7, 8 years old. And I'm just washing my hands. I'm going through the whole COVID washing thing, the 20 seconds, the this, that, and all that. I'm going through the whole process. And I noticed he stopped. And he just was watching me. But I never looked at him. But I saw him watching. And after a few seconds, I saw him imitating me and how I was washing my hands. And it just hit me. I'm like, man, you just never know who you can impact by doing the right thing, trying your best to say the right things, and trying your best to be the best that you can be every day. In the midst of grief, in the midst of loss, in the midst of disappointment, distractions. And it's so easy to go through things in life that don't feel good, to make your mind not be well, to make your heart not be well. And none of us, nobody, we all want to be okay.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hurt. Nobody wants to feel bad. Nobody wants to lose anything or anyone. But it's a part of life.
Yeah.
And when we get to the point where we accept that as a part of life, then we can live a little bit more with peace.
Yes.
We can exercise that joy that God gave us that he said the world can't take away because the world didn't give it to us.
Come on.
So you have that joy within you already. You have that peace that we find in God's presence. And the Bible tells us all that if that's what you read and believe. So if you just trust the one who gave you life, if you just trust the one who promised you life, if you just trust the one who's sustaining you right now in this life, in this season, with all of the pain, with all the pressure, with all the disappointments, if you just learn to trust that, you will learn each day how to get through day by day. The Bible also says, let tomorrow take care of itself.
That part.
Don't worry about tomorrow. You haven't even got through the day yet. And you're already stressing about something you have never seen. So what if tomorrow's not promised to you? Now you've taken all that time to stress about something that's not even for you. And you could have enjoyed this day, this moment. This is all we know. This is all we have right now. Just as you see me on this podcast right now, when we click off, I don't know what's next.
Right.
But I do know what's been promised. I do know why I have faith.
Right.
I do know what I hope for and what I expect because I have faith and trust and believe. And I'll just stop right there.
Wow.
Well, please don't stop. Don't stop.
Right.
That was a mic drop. Andre,
Yeah.
when you were talking, when you talked about the little boy, there was two things that the little boy did. He didn't just watch you. He became curious.
Yes.
He was curious. And then through his curiosity, he became more aware of what you were doing.
Yeah.
And in life and in grief, especially, we have to become curious. Become curious about those things, right? Those emotions and what's coming up for us. Not judging it initially, but saying, why am I feeling this?
That part.
What is it that's making me feel this way? Or what happened that prompted or preempted that? And then when you really become aware of that, just by your curiosity and then answering that question, it increases your awareness. So to your point, You don't know. You don't know what today is going to bring. You don't know what emotion is going to come up through grief, and you just trust the process. But in the moments where you cannot trust the process, right? Sometimes you just don't know. You just feel out, right? You also have to trust your discernment, and that is where you do say, God, what is grief showing me? Because it
Yeah.
is a guide.
It
Grief is
is.
going to guide you. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to guide you to your next step. It's going to
Absolutely.
guide you to that person to watch and to emulate until you get it for yourself. To
Yeah.
your wonderful point, Andre, about the people who do know, who do live it, who are doing it well, not perfect, but who are doing it well with grace. God will and guide, grief will guide you. So, Murata, your first time, grief guided you here.
Yeah.
Something guided you here, whether it's God, whomever, a friend through God or God through the friend referred you. It's a guide. It is
Yes.
a guide.
Yes. Now I do want to pause just for a moment because we got some
Please.
comments out here.
All right.
Marada had a few other clarifying points that she wanted to talk to us about. She said, I'm saying that because if you don't put grief in its proper place, it will give you a broken heart. For example, her mom passed away. She passed away 5 years ago, and her process has been to, part of her process, it consumed her, right? So she's stronger now, but that process, she had to put it in its proper place. So I appreciate you for sharing that with us, right? And Rosalind, I want to just see if you or Andre has anything else to add, because that's the thing too. You have to put it in the proper place, because we hear all the time that people die of a broken heart. Nothing may be wrong with the person before, but somebody dies, and it has been told by doctors that they're like, they died from a broken heart.
I'll
They didn't
reframe
know how
it.
to process it.
I'll invite a reframe. It's not grief that is creating the broken heart.
Okay, talk about it. Educators, that's what you here for. Come on.
So again, grief is the guide. Grief invites you to nurture, to care for yourself, to make meaning
Mm-hmm.
of
Okay.
what has happened, to make meaning of the loss and the impact of it on you. So if grief operates in that way, it cannot also break your heart. See that?
Mm.
They can't, the two can't coexist.
Mm.
So what may be breaking your heart, and I can't define that for you, Murad, or anybody else, it would be for you to define it. And I'm not trying to change your words, but inviting you to reframe it. It may be not you, it may be the avoidance of it, of what's happening, or the avoidance of grief. It may be maybe not getting the proper coaching or assistance to support you forward. It may be a lack of awareness of what's actually going on and what's happening with you and through the process.
Mm.
It could be a lack of self-care throughout the process,
Mm.
not really leaning into where it's trying to guide you.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it time and time again where you do have, if that's your words, I'm not taking that away from you. I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example.
Yeah.
And it does.
Mm-hmm.
The loss of your mom,
Yeah.
the loss
Yeah.
of your mom, it does break your heart. The loss
Mm-hmm.
of your mom breaks your
Mm-hmm.
heart, and those emotions that go with it. But
Yeah.
when we talk about grief coming to visit you, when grief comes to visit you, grief is showing you, ma'am, you loved deeply. Or
Yes.
as our young lady said earlier, you were loved deeply.
Yes.
Something meant something to you, and it is okay for you to grieve this. It's okay for
Yeah.
you to have emotion. It's okay for you to get love and care around that. So the
Yes.
loss, the event itself, it does feel like it's breaking you. Your heart is broken, but grief is coming to help repair that. And
Yes.
Marada, you talked about that. I'll give you an example. My father, he really didn't face or know how to face the grief of my mom. And then
Mm-hmm.
he immediately jumped into another relationship. And all the while he was breaking, never got
Yeah.
counseling, never really processed it,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't taking care of his health. And then after that, decision after decision. And so some would say, yeah, he died of a broken heart. Yes, the loss of my mom broke his heart, but his refusal or inability to, or his not knowing how to allow grief to come in,
Yeah.
that contributed to that.
Yeah.
So I hope, Murata, that makes sense. Not trying to change your words or your experience.
Yeah. Yeah. She's giving us some heart. So I also want to call in. We got some friends on here. Stacy Renee is on here. When she tune in and see her favorites, yes, we are her favorites. Both of us, all three of us are her favorites. And then you have Michiko has something too, but I want to say hi to
Devon. Hi.
Devon, who's out there with us. Michiko did have something, so I want to. She has a question. Is grief a part of attending church? Isolating self? I'm struggling with going back to church, and I fellowship with a great church, of course. I don't know OCC. I'm not sure what OCC means, but hearing the lesson messages are needed. But I struggle with hearing God's word. And I thought of why Sean is not here still. So, am I wanting the message to only be in reference to death? Am I experiencing issues with God? Because He surely does not have issue with me. I know for me, I need that fellowship. I'm going to go to my phone because I want to read her entire message. She said, "I need the fellowship. I just can't seem to push myself back to the building."
That's Michiko. That is for you to answer. Nobody else to answer. I will tell you, it is normal to have some shifts in your beliefs and your relationships spiritually. Because again, when you experience the loss, you are first getting over the shock, the numbness, and all of those. One Community Church, got it, Michiko. You're going through all of those emotions. And then you're going through the grieving season, which, remember, again, is the meaning making, the processing, the identity shifts, the questioning, the doubts. So that's likely what you're going through, is that shift right there. Certainly doesn't mean that your faith is gone and that's not what you said. Certainly doesn't mean that you don't want community. It also could mean that you are craving a different type of community.
Yes.
You know, and it doesn't mean that the spiritual foundation is gone, right? Doesn't mean that it's not another spiritual community, but you could be craving and needing something that speaks to you now, in your moment now. And the reason I can tell you that is, after losing my father, the church in which I grew up no longer served me for what I was going through. They were a fabulous church, fabulous pastor, spoke and taught the word of God, but they were not versed and they were not capable in meeting me where I needed to be met at that moment. So grief guided me to another spiritual community that had that level of support based off of my needs, wants, and desires. Now, I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm just saying that it is normal. And one other thing I just want to say for Murata and everybody else, if you hear me being very adamant of how I'm reframing grief and redefining it, it's because that is so critical.
Yes.
Our society is not grief intelligent. In a lot of ways, we have mischaracterized grief. And Murata, I'm not saying that you or anyone else has done it. I'm just really explaining and being very transparent and reinforcing this. We've mischaracterized it. We've mislabeled it. We've given it a negative name. And so we all know anything that is given a negative label is not going to we're not going to engage with it. Most people will avoid it. And so what we want to invite you to do is, we know it's not easy. We know it's not something that we want to do. We hurt, we're human, but it is something that's necessary.
We got a couple more comments, and I'm going to lean into you, Andre, as well. So Stacy stated, "This is so good. Grief isn't just an emotion to manage. It's a transition process that reshapes identity, behavior, and capacity. And if we don't account for that, we misread what's really happening." That's good, Stacy.
That's good. Grieving, the season of grieving is the transition.
Yes.
Grief is your guide that will be with you always. So there's just a little clarifier, a little more nugget on that, Stacy, my friend. So
Yeah.
we have the loss, which is the event. Grieving
Mhm.
is the season. It's the bridge over
Mhm.
and through your transition.
Mm.
Choose to your transformation. Then on the other side of that bridge is walking with grief or allowing grief to walk beside you as a natural companion, a natural part of life. May not
Yeah.
be the easiest
Yeah.
part, but it's the natural part of life.
Well, I have Tanya who has some comments as well. She says, I've been in counseling since losing my dad. It helps, but I still find myself doing good. And then out of nowhere, I have a meltdown. She said, I could hear something cook. I can hear something, cook something, or even smell something that reminds me of my daddy. And I just break down.
That's a
And
grief outburst, and it's normal.
it's normal.
It's
It
a
can
grief.
come out of nowhere.
And Tanya, listen. Sit. My mother passed when I was 16. I still have them. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
that you aren't healed.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're not managing well, and it doesn't mean that you haven't accepted the loss and that you can't get over it, because there's nothing that you should ever get over. As
Mhm.
Murado said, the loss broke her heart. So
Mhm.
grief is always there to remind you that something meaningful happened to you, something
Yeah.
significant happened to you, and it's reminding you that you are human. You have
Mhm.
the right to be human. You have the right
Mhm.
to be cared for, whether that care was there or not, but it's just reminding you of who you are and the
Yeah.
value of who you are and what you deserve, and that you lived something significantly.
Yeah. Sure. You got anything to add?
Um, I just want to say to Tanya, my sister, um, we have this inside joke. We always say who's the biggest. So sometimes she call me bigger than me, and we just have inside jokes. But on a serious note, sis, I'm here for you as much as I can be as your brother. Um, there's certain parts that I miss as well of our dad. I wasn't as close to him as you were, but we had our moments.
Mhm.
So I do have my own memories, and you have yours.
Mhm.
Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes girls are really close to their
Mhm.
dads
Mhm.
and want that dad's attention, that dad's
Mhm.
approval.
Mhm.
So although I don't get that part, I do get that there is a loss, and we're both going through it in our own ways. But I'm here for you if you need to talk or just need someone to listen.
Yeah.
And as far as the outbursts, I still have them, from my mom. Um, when she did pass, people say I grieve differently.
Mm.
Even my pastor at the time said, "How do you doing this so gracefully?" Because I didn't appear to be sad. I didn't appear to be broken up. I didn't appear to be being an only child, to be the way people thought I would be. Um, and it all came from my foundation.
Mm.
It all came from the understanding of my foundation.
Mhm.
Um, I trust God. I believe in God. I know there's a will of God, and there's my will.
Mhm.
It was my will and my way, she'd still be here.
Yeah.
But I trust God, and I know His ways are not like mine, and vice versa.
Mm. Mm.
So, what I did when my mom passed, I thank God for the time.
Yes.
I thank God for choosing her in
Mhm.
particular to care for me, to carry me, to nurture
Mhm.
me, and
Mhm.
to be there for me, to be the example that I needed in life in certain ways. So I was more grateful to God for giving me someone to love me in the way that she did, someone
Yeah.
to care in the way that she did. So I took it in a way of I was appreciative.
Mm.
Thank you, God, for lending me your daughter for
Mm.
the time that you gave her to me to
Mm.
be with me.
Mm.
So although I miss her still, although it was tough watching her go, it was tough holding her hand, watching her take her last breath. All that was tough. But in the midst of it all, I thank God for the time and for choosing us to be together as son and mom. So we all get through it differently. We all process differently. I still went to work. I still went to church, and people were looking at me like, "Are you okay?" I'm fine.
Yeah.
And some people would choose certain days of the year, a birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, to be sad. because of the memories, because of what it meant to them. My first Mother's Day without her, I woke up and all I said was, God has spoken.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to take this moment to relive what I felt when it happened. I'm going to take this moment to continue to praise God, continue to thank God. He has spoken. What else can I say? What else can I do? I have to do my part. I have to keep living according to my purpose, according to his plan, and thank God for what is and what has been and what still remains in my heart.
I love that you said that. And I want to give a preference of, we had a pre-session. I would say a therapy. It wasn't a therapy session. It was a coaching session, because she is a coach. She is not a therapist. She will tell you that. But let me tell you, we had a pre-session, and I was, he should be grieving some type of way. And she was like, but he is grieving his way. How he grieves is his way of grieving. We have an expectation sometimes that we put on other people of how they should be grieving, and they're not going to grieve the way he's not going to grieve the way I would grieve, and I'm not going to grieve the way he would grieve. So it's so different. And Rosalind will say everybody's experience is different, and that's okay. And I learned that in our little coaching session that we weren't even planning.
Unofficial.
We were not planning.
We were not planning. But I also want to share, because we're sharing. I got a couple more comments out there I want to get to, but I want to share something that was so profound, because Andre, he was with his mom when she passed, and he told me that when she passed, her hand covered her face.
The hand that I was holding.
It's like she took her hand out of his hand and she covered her face. And it bothered me, like, well, where's she at? Like, what's going on? Where'd she go? And I had went to this retreat, like, she died that January, I went to a retreat, and it was by this lake. And I was sitting next to this lady who was, I was telling her what was happening. I was explaining what happened to his mother. As I was telling the part about her taking her hand out and covering her face, I kid you not, the sun came so bright in my face that I could not see. The eye put my hand up like his mom put her hand up. And the lady said to me, she wasn't covering her face from shame. She was covering her face from the glory of God. And when I tell you, I still get the darn chills, because I'm like, okay, God. Then when he says, God has spoken, it's like it gives you it gives you a new revelation of, okay, God, I see you. Because after I said it, the sun went away. I was like, what experience did I just have? And I if I was not there and she was not there with me to see the actual act of me covering my face, because the sun had blinded me. And as soon as she said that was the glory of God, the sun went away.
May I tell you something? This is a perfect experience of how grief is a guide. In that session, what was the other thing we pointed out? That Andre wasn't the only one grieving, that you were grieving too. And some of the way that you were grieving, you were unintentionally projecting on to Andre.
Yes.
I want to show you and everybody else on this phone or on this line is how grief is a guide. Remember, you asked the question. Well, what did she do that for? Where did that come from? So you're asking the question.
Yeah.
Right. Michiko saying, I have this, Rada, everybody saying. So questions come. The loss, you're in the grieving season.
Yeah.
Meaning of it. Grief guided you to that woman to give you some insight. And from a spiritual perspective, I will venture out to say that was God operating through grief.
Yes. I truly believe that.
States of being peace, joy, happiness, contentment, grief, loss. So if you are a believer, and I'm not trying to impose it on anybody, but that's a real life example of how grief was the guide to give you the meaning making and nurture you needed.
Yes.
And I also want to point out how grief has guided us to talk about something we weren't even supposed to talk about, because we're talking
So,
about
we were supposed to talk about guilt.
ambiguous loss. We're talking about Murata needed to talk about her mother, and we are darn sure going to give her the space. Michiko needed to talk about her daughter.
Listen,
Andre needed
this
to
is
talk
what
about
this
his son.
is.
Tanya needed to talk about her dad. This is what grief does. It
Yes.
opens up the space
Yes.
for truth, for you to have your grief outburst, for you to have the community to
Yes.
support you.
Yes, yes, yes. There is a couple comments that I want to highlight. Stacy said, being honest, real grief doesn't just hurt in the moment. Oh, it sure doesn't. It can quietly change how you show up for years, sometimes in ways you don't even recognize until much later.
Because it's a journey, Stacy.
Yeah.
It's not a moment, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
That's why we say grief is a guide. It is your natural companion.
Yes.
And Stacy knows his full hand, okay? See, I don't shoot. Stacy, remember that quote you took from me and you posted on something? I don't run from grief. I allow grief to sit right beside me every day.
Yes.
Because it's a journey, and I know that. So those grief outbursts, Tanya, have them. Let no one suppress them. You have them however you need to have them. And you stay in your healthy container when your outburst hit, and you celebrate your anniversaries how you want to. I have clients that do want to be sad on the anniversary of their mother's death. And I said, okay, if you want to be bundled up in a blanket that day and just watch movies or just veg out, do that. Just don't stay there. Because grief is also about a journey helping you to move forward.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We got another comment. Devon said, grief doesn't always look like falling apart. Sometimes it looks like high functioning. Sometimes it looks like overperforming, especially for someone like me who lives with bipolar disorder. Grief can show up as productive, right? As achievement, as I'm fine, as pushing through, as showing up polished and prepared while internally trying to outrun what hurts. Oh my goodness.
So again, and you were spot on, Davon. So again, your navigating of grief and others may look like that.
Yeah.
That's not grief.
Yeah.
And I use that reframing because let's be very specific. The way in which you navigate, your way of navigating could look like that. And you guys know that I do all the content on strong ones. Javon, you and I have talked. I resonate with that so well. I overperformed for so long and I was the strong one. That was me navigating grief, but that is not what grief was inviting me to do. Grief was inviting me to do the opposite. And it wasn't until I surrendered to that I gave that up.
Yes. We had Murata who said, yes, understood. She was agreeing with you. We also had Michiko who came back and said, I thought about that. No, you're not influencing my thoughts in any way. What you did was give me great peace of what I had been feeling. I just released the guilt of wanting to seek another Bible teaching church to become a part of. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, a lot of thank yous over here. Yes, yes,
you're
yes.
welcome.
Heart.
Aliyah.
Heart. Oh, yes, Tanya.
We got Karen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, family.
Oh,
Tanya. Keep crying too, Tanya. You keep on. We are here to hold the container.
That's it. Michiko said, thank you, Andre. I will journal that. He has spoken.
He has spoken.
Amen.
And I'll say what Irby Johnson used to say to that. Peace and blessings.
Please.
You always say that too. That's your tagline.
That was from Irby Johnson.
For your men's podcast that we're encouraging you to do. I just say it in open so you can be accountable to
Come on. Call it in because we've been talking about it.
Grief will also lead you to a higher purpose and dimension and calling.
Oh.
Well, God has spoken again.
There it is.
He always speaks. We just have to listen.
That's right. Davon, I saw you. Yes. High five.
Yes. We did get one comment on YouTube. Hello, late, but I'll catch the replay. What we're going to do is we had some technical difficulties with YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this live right now, but I'm going to upload the full video because we did have some I don't know what was going on with the system. It didn't want to work right, but that's okay. We kept on going anyway.
We
Yeah.
did.
Mm-hmm. Tanya said, from the words of my daddy. So yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
There it is.
So wow, we have had another session. Now we're supposed to talk about ambiguous loss, grieving someone who is still alive. Oh, that's
Listen,
okay.
we surrendered to where grief was guiding us
We
tonight.
surrender. Okay, we got a question. How can one not blame themselves when it seems like everyone walks away?
You
Oh,
just do. You just do.
mm,
You make the decision.
yeah,
You make
yeah,
the decision.
yeah.
You heard me say a lot, and am I saying your name right? Is it Leah?
It
Am I
is
saying
Leah. That's our baby girl.
That's baby girl.
Leah?
Like
Yeah.
that.
You just do. Another thing that grief will guide you to is to surrender to what is.
Come on.
Surrender to the truth of a matter.
Yes.
And then it will surrender. And then in that surrender, you will make your decision of what you need to decide. So if you want to give that up, you make that decision. You just do.
You follow through on that decision, right? I think that's important. And sometimes here's the thing. I think you've said this before, is we have to give ourselves grace too. Because one day I'd be like all aligned with this decision that I made. And the next time I could be like, yeah, I might backslide a little bit. But it's giving myself grace to say, you know what? I'm aware that I went backwards. Now, going back to what you said, don't stay in it. What do I need to do? And we're going to talk about what we need to do, right? We talk about this all the time. Get the therapy, get the coaching. There's so many resources that are available to us. There's so many people that want to help. Please, we plead with you not to sit in this and try to figure out alone, especially if you don't know how. You don't have the proper tools to process the different dynamics of grief. That's why we have my friend, the creator of the Mind Transitions, the grief coach, and what you call yourself, the transformation strategist. She's a transition strategist right here. She helps you navigate through that. So never feel like you have to go through anything alone. God gives us talents and strengths, and He pours this in us. He equips us with this so that we can help. So we always say, get the help that is here for you. Rosalind is an excellent grief coach, an excellent transition strategist, and she has so many different ways. You've heard her now for 3-part series. We're looking for a part 4 because we're not finished talking about. But yeah.
And Leah, what a good coach will do. Now you're the driver, Leah.
Exactly.
You're the driver. Your coach is your co-pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Just walking beside you, and what they'll do is help you map out your transition plan, your strategy, the steps you need to take in order to do what you want to do with respect to that question. And that's how they will do it. And just like Omikyo said, it's a process, it's a journey. So if you don't hit step 1 today, we go back to step 1 till you get step 1. Then we go to step 2 until it becomes habitual. And then the next time you have another transition and people walk away from you, it will still hurt. It may break your heart, but you'll know how to navigate it going forward more effectively.
Yes. We've got a few more comments, Dre. I hear him saying all the time, you got this, young girl. So she's over there crying.
Our dad had so many sayings. He would say so many different things. So, but it's good to have memories. A cry is just a release sometimes. So you don't get all bottled up and built up, and doesn't affect other avenues and parts of your life. Trying to relate to other people, trying to have relationships, because it can affect that as well.
You're welcome.
So, thank you, baby girl, for getting on, Aaliyah.
Absolutely.
Thank you to everyone. And I just want to say one thing to Machiko. Go ahead and read that.
Oh, I want to read the few last comments that are on here. And listen, sometimes the plan shifts and what needs to be discussed comes to the forefront. You absolutely right. And we do not get in the way of what God has planned. We let him do what he need to do. Whatever the conversation is, that's how we're going to leave. We talk about life, love, relationships, and all the things that happen in between. So whatever happens, we talk about. We have a schedule of what we're going to talk about, but hey, we can always push that to the next time because listen, we are giving you insight, information, and it's helping. And that's what this is all about. That's what this platform was created for. Do another one about guilt. We will tune in. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What did we say when Andre was tending to the grands? We said, we're just going to go with it tonight. We're going with the flow.
Go with the flow tonight. That's what it is.
We go.
Yeah. Stacy also had some words too. Yes, sometimes sitting in grief doesn't look like sadness. Looks like numbness, shrinking, or quietly living below your full capacity without realizing. Knowing the signs is so important.
Yeah.
We got wisdom on the call today.
That's knowing the signs that
yes.
grief awareness and knowing the signs for you.
Yes.
Because numbness for somebody else might be related to something else.
Yes.
Not necessarily their group journey. So you're exactly right. Spot on. It's got all types of different characteristics that come with you navigating. Those are human characteristics. It's not grief. And Stacey, you're not saying this, but I'm going to reiterate it. Y'all going to get sick of me. It's the human way of how you process things.
Exactly.
That's so significant. All of those things that you name. I mean, my sister was giving birth to her daughter when she heard that she was pregnant at a late age. She was numb. She went stunned. That was a big transition for her. There was no grief attributed to it, but she went numb. So those are just all human emotions that you have to be aware of in your journey, wherever you are.
Well, we are at time. I want to have Andre close us out. We went over a little bit, but that's okay because, hey, we'll do that too sometime. If it gets good, we ain't cutting it off. We're going to finish the conversation, and then we're going to come on back in 2 weeks. And we're going to have a grief series part 4. Rosalind, we invite you back, my friend. If you're willing to come on back, we definitely would appreciate it. You're definitely helping us. So, Andre, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. We really appreciate you. And I'll speak a little bit more next time on how this all started and became a podcast.
Yes.
But for now, thank you all so much for your time, your attention, your intentionality. Thank you for sharing your hearts, your minds, your feelings, and whatever else that you had to muster up to even speak and to share. So sometimes we don't all have a format or a place like this to share, where people will listen and not judge or listen and disregard. But just know our hearts are open for you. We're available to you as much as we can be. And we love you all. And we thank you. So until next time, continue to love, continue to live, continue to give, and be blessed. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Don't hang up yet. I forgot Omikyo and Andre. Went live on Grief TV yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So everybody tune in. Grief TV, grief.tv, or on the Roku channel. Mind the Transitions live. So if you want more, but as Omikyo said, I'll be back in 2 weeks.
And we will make sure we have all that information for you and for new people. So if you are this is your first time being with us, thank you for being on this live with us. We have a lot of information that we're going to continue to share with you. I always say we don't know all things, but we do know some things, and we're going to share them with you. And we ask that you share them with us too. This isn't just us feeding you, you feeding us too, and we helping each other. So that's what it's all about. So blessings to all of you all, and thank you so much for tuning in.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
All right. We are.
Thank you for tuning in.
When words were hard to find, we never gave up on love. No, 'cause you made a promise you'll always be.